Record. Okay, now what I want is I would like someone to tell me the answer to number 2. Go ahead.
13x.
I would prefer a correct answer.
13 equals x.
Here we go.
I don't know how to do this, but it's okay if I try.
Well, that's what you raised your hand for. Let's go.
So,
The worst you can be is wrong, right?
so if x equals -6, you need to add 6 to get 0.
What are we talking about?
Court number 2. Silly court.
All right, let me blow in. So here we go. All right, this ought to be interesting. Go, Sophia. That's your answer. Anybody else?
You said x equals
Yes.
1.
Shh, shh, here we go.
Negative x equals 13.
You think of what?
Negative x equals 13.
Tell us.
X equals negative 13.
So what is my answer, guys?
X equals 13. Or-
Seb, tell him.
Oh, smart one.
Shh.
Negative x equals 13. Oh, no. X equals negative 13.
That's you're sticking with that.
I mean,
I
yeah.
hate when I have to tell you you're wrong.
It's x equals
Yes.
13. Yeah, so
Tell him, Walt.
it's x equals 13.
Oh, that's so definite, like you know for sure that's correct.
Yeah, because it's 13 places away from 0.
Wow, that was pretty good, but still wrong.
X equals 13 or negative 13.
Wow, Tanner. That's what I've been trying to get out of you all year is a correct answer. Finally. So again, there are actually 2 answers here for absolute values. So instead of writing x equals -13, x equals 13, here's how you're allowed to write it. You're allowed to write it as plus or minus 13. That is the correct answer. So with absolute values, there are going to be 2 solutions. Absolute values, there's going to be 2 solutions. All right, so now with that, all right, let's look down at number 4. Let's see who's thinking, Seb. What's the answer to number 4, please? Shh.
X equals plus or minus 1.75.
I hate telling you you're wrong twice in one day. Tell him, please.
X equals positive plus.
Stop talking. Tell him, Katie. Wow, how did you know that? Right, absolute value cannot be negative. You are absolutely correct. So in this case, there is no solution. You taking good notes over there, Seb? All right. The absolute value cannot equal a negative number. All right. So those of you guys who are robots, and you just go through and do the problem as quick as you can, you're going to make mistakes when it gets to the negatives. All right. So now again, all right, I'm moving down the page. As we go down the page, it's supposed to get a little bit harder. So let's see what's happening on question number 6. Now, for question number 6, I have the absolute value of x equals, or the absolute value of x plus 11 equals 3. Now, again, a little bit more challenging. So I need to show you now exactly how to solve it because the answer isn't 3 and -3. All right, so the first thing I want everybody to understand is the absolute value of what is 3? Yes. What else? The absolute value of what else is 3? Just 3. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to show you something. What is inside the absolute value right here? -3. So if what's inside the absolute value is -3, that will create a correct answer. Does everybody agree with that? So what you're doing is you're writing 2 equations. You're saying x plus 11 could equal 3, or x plus 11 could equal what? -3. All right, that's how you solve absolute value equations. That's how you solve absolute value equations. Now from here, everyone in here should be able to do the mental math. If not, you're a little slow on the mental math, you got to let me know, all right, so I can get that part of your brain going better. So we would say x equals -8 or x equals -14. So again, it doesn't always come out to be plus or minus. Occasionally it can, but not always. Now, just to make sure, that what I'm telling you is true, we're going to check our answers. Now, this is why I normally don't check my answers, because I'm always what? I'm always right. So there was no reason to check my answers. But if you were taking a test and you wanted to check to see if you were right, then what you would do is you would come over here and say, well, X is -8. If I plug -8 in, what's -8 plus 11? 3. The absolute value of 3 is what? So that is a correct answer. And then I plug -14 in. What's -14 plus 11? -3. And then the absolute value of -3. So I know I'm correct. All right. So that's the method of solving an absolute value equation. All right. You must write 2 equations. Now, why is this annoying? Because how many problems are on the worksheet? 36. And if each question has 2 equations, that means you're getting 72 practice problems in. All right. That's why a lot of times kids don't like this. It's a simple process. You have to understand the process. And then if you know how to solve an equation, it's really simple. All right. So I'm going to pick it up a little bit. And I'm expecting you to say, hey, I don't know. All right. But if you do know, don't interrupt. All right. What's the problem?
Why does the 11 go to the negative?
Why did the 11 go to negative? Where do you see the 11?
Oh, you want to, for the second part. You got 14, like this 14.
I subtracted 11 from both
Oh.
sides,
Never mind.
right? What? Seriously, go.
No, actually, I don't understand why you make the 3 either one -3 actually probably.
Okay, that just means you weren't listening, and I know you weren't listening because I was watching you. So what's inside the absolute value can be what? -3, because what's the absolute value of -3? That's why that what's inside can equal a negative. Also, what's inside could be what? Because the absolute value of 3 is what? You hear me now, right?
Oh,
What's inside can be either 3 or -3. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You hear me? All right, just to make sure, I'm doing the next one. We got to move, guys. I'm supposed to get down to all the way to 36 by the time the bell rings, and we're going to get there. All right, let's get moving. All right, here we go. Number 8. So we just write 2x minus 7 equals 13. 2x minus 7 equals what? -13. And now again, here's what I'm saying about practicing. Adding 7, 2x equals 20, x equals 10. 2x equals -6, x equals -3. Anybody have any issues?
No, they shouldn't.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Number 10. Same exact principle. Write both equations and then do the mental math. So everybody should be writing 3 minus 2x equals 11. 3 minus 2x equals -11. Now you're trying to decide if you understand how to do it. That's what you're trying to understand. All right, now I'm asking right now, is anybody having a problem with what I just wrote? Nobody. All right, so now we're just solving. -2x equals 8, x equals -4. -2x equals -14, x equals 7. Anybody need help solving that equation? All right, I told you, picking up the pace. Uh-oh. So do me a favor. This right here is supposed to be a minus. All right, that's supposed to be a minus. All right. So now what I need from you is the absolute value must be isolated, just like a normal variable. So what do I have to do? Tell me, Seb.
you have to add 9.
Add 9 to both sides. We are trying to isolate the absolute value. You cannot do the problem unless you isolate the absolute value first. You have to write that in your notes if you don't want to understand what I'm saying. Isolate the absolute value. So he is 100% correct. We are absolute value of X equals 22. And now here's where everybody can just say, well, this is just like problem number 2. So I know my answer is X equals plus or minus 22. Plus or minus 22. Not difficult.
I get it. Doesn't matter if you put minus plus or plus minus.
If you put minus plus, just, it's not that it's wrong. It's just that's not how it's written. All right, what?
So is the final answer just X equals plus minus 22?
That's what I said, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, I was just confused because there was a one on the top.
All right, here we go. Let's look at 14. Uh-oh. On 14 now, what do I have to do, David?
Add 7 to both sides.
Add 7. And then what?
Divide.
And then divide by 5. All right, and once you do that, tell me what the answer is.
X equals plus or negative 6.
Yes. All right, thank you. Cooper, you're out.
Wait,
Expelled.
Okay, so again, we ended up getting absolute value of X equals 6 as he stated. Absolute, shh.
am I in the office or?
Yeah, you're going home, I think. Going home. All right. So now we have X equals plus or minus 6. All right, plus or minus 6. Focus, guys, focus. All right. All right, here we go. 16. All right, now again, what do?
I think you add 2.
Of course you do. 7, absolute value, 2 minus X. Then what do I do? Yep, and so I have 2 minus X equals. Yep, and now you just have your 2 equations. 2 minus X equals 1, 2 minus X equals -1. I like to move the X because it's negative. So I say X equals 3, X equals 1. And then, of course, I just rewrite it. I think that's better mentally. Good for you.
Could you please just do that last part again? Like, how did you take, so you got 2 minus X equals 1, but what did you do after that?
So then as soon as you isolate, you write 2 equations. So listen to me now, one more time. What's underneath is equal to 1.
Yeah.
And then what is underneath is equal to -1.
Okay.
Every single time, that's what you do. And then you just solve the equation.
Oh, it's normal.
Just normal equation after that. That's why I said this is good practice for those of you guys who didn't do what you want to do on the last quiz. What?
So you just isolate the.
Isolate the absolute value first. That's your first number 1 goal.
I get it.
All right. In the previous problems, the absolute value was already isolated. Now it's not. All right. So we're on 18. So correct answer for 18. What do I have to do first? Say it.
Divide by 3 on both sides.
Right. So what do I get?
You get 4x minus 7 equals -7.
Okay. So what's the answer? Shh.
The answer.
Automatically, without doing any thinking, I know the answer is what?
Maybe.
Without you doing any thinking whatsoever.
I don't know how.
Yes, you do. Look at, come on, absolute value is equal to a what?
Negative or positive.
Nope, absolute value in this case is equal to a what?
+7.
No, what is the absolute value equal to?
-7.
So what's the problem with something equaling a negative? Your absolute value cannot be equal to a negative.
Oh.
So those of you guys who wrote 4x minus 7 equals -7, 4x minus 7 equals 7, you got it all wrong. You went too fast. You didn't think before you started writing. No solution. Absolute value cannot equal a negative. All right, absolute value cannot equal a negative.
Oh, oh.
Yep, exactly. So now here, Court, what?
Oh, you times 5.
That's exactly right. So 5x minus 10, absolute value equals 10. So now what?
Do plus 10, 620.
Not yet. You have to write both equations.
Oh, yeah, so 5x minus 10 equals 10, and negative 5x minus 10 equals negative 10.
You're correct,
And then you add 10 on the first equation.
right?
So, yeah, and then it's 4.
And then,
And that is 0.
brilliant, right?
Yeah.
That's easy, 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 easy. All right, anybody have any issues with 20?
Oh, you easy.
I don't have an issue, I just have a question. Could you, like, add 20 first? Oh, no, never mind.
Right. Listen, hey, I appreciate you thinking about it. I really do. Because I always try to do that as well. But listen, I promise you, if there's an easier way, guess what? I promise you I would show you. All right. I'm showing you the best logical way to solve these problems that will help you later do even the harder problems.
Okay.
You with me on that?
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Let's check out 22. All right. Do not put no solution on this one. Just because it's equal to a negative doesn't mean it's automatically no solution. Because I first have to isolate, which means I have to do what first?
You have to, 7.
Right. And what is that?
Then it's, negative 22. Yeah.
Thank you. Now what?
Um,
Do you see that? Because I have a negative here, so I have to get rid of the negative by making it positive.
Oh, so then, okay.
Shh, I'm trying to make sure. Tanner, do you see that?
Yeah. Oh. I don't know what to do when you get to like the 4. I don't know what to do with that number right there, like the +1.
4x plus 1?
Wait,
Tan-
yeah.
Tanner, now you're writing the two equations. So you would say 4x plus 1 equals 22. 4x plus 1 equals negative 22.
Yeah.
And so 4x equals 21, x equals 21 over 4. 4x equals negative 23, x equals negative 23 fourths. Everybody okay with that? Any issues? All right, let's carry on. Oh, now somebody last class wanted me to add these. Can I add these two together?
No.
No, because that's 10 times the absolute value. All right, you can't do that. So what do I have to do first? Now, look, please don't waste time. Can we all just look at that and say the absolute value of negative 3x plus 1 is equal to 8? Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
You don't have to do all that. I mean, come on, 79 plus 1, really? And then divide by what? 10. Everybody's doing that mental math. Anybody have any questions with that? Now, if you don't like that and you want to put the +1 and the +1, feel free. But I just feel like that's boring and a waste of time. I'm just looking at that saying, I know the absolute value of negative 3x plus 1 equals 8. Agreed?
Yeah.
Now you write your equations. Negative 3x plus 1 equals 8. Negative 3x plus 1 equals negative 8. And so x is equal to negative 7/3, or x is equal to 3. Right?
Oh,
Now, what did I do? I skipped some steps there, right?
yeah.
So I'm saying in my head, everybody should be able to look at that and say, I'm just subtracting 1. And I'm hopefully you can do 8 minus 1 in your head. And then you have negative 3 times that. So you're just dividing. Anybody have any issue with that? This is how I like the answer. All right. Can you work it out a lot more in more details and more steps? Yeah, some of you need to do that because skipping steps has not worked for you. But if you know how to work backwards, come on, that wasn't that hard, correct? It's not that hard. All right, here we go. Yeah, now we got a good fraction. So 3/5 x plus 6 equals 12. And 3/5 x equals -12. So now fractions are always a little bit trickier. So let's verify that you're good with fractions. 3/5 x equals 6. And now multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm just going to put times 5/3. So x equals 10. Anybody? And over here, 3/5 x equals -18. Now I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So x equals -30. Feels good, doesn't it? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Stop playing around, stop goofing, get serious when you're in here, goof outside, not in here, business. All right, get smarter. That's your job. Anybody have any problems with 26? Everybody good? All right, let's knock out 28. So absolute value 4 minus 8x equals -11. Everybody happy with that? And why am I real happy about this problem? You don't have to do any work. It's just what? No solution. Absolute value cannot equal a negative. All right, I'm pretty happy with you guys. Here, easy. 9 plus x equals what? 4. So x equals how's that? All right, here we go. 32. How are we doing on that one? Everybody's good? Come on, come on. That's what I'm saying. Stay focused. Finally getting some right. Now you're distracted again. All right, that's the problem. Yeah, you heard me right. Okay, so first thing I got to do is so now how many people right now at this stage, right here, everybody's looking up. How many people can just look at that and say, well, x equals 31/8 or x equals -33, -33/8? Can you do that? Right, so let me help you. So you're looking at 32, you say 32, then you do the opposite of this. What's 32 minus 1? And then you always divide by the number in front of the variable. 31 divided by 8. Over here, say this first, and then you do the opposite. -32 minus 1. And then you divide by the number in front. Good with that? That's how I want you doing that. All right, once you do that, your mental math gets better. All right, it's very simple. You don't want to waste time. All right, now I gave you one good fraction just to make sure. So let's go through the fraction. All right, please, everybody, take a good look. All right, no mistakes here. So I have 3/5 x minus 7/10 equals 5/2. 3/5 x minus 7/10 equals negative 5/2. Now, does everybody agree I need a common denominator?
Yes.
Right, so now let's get this correct now, guys. 5/2 is how many tenths? 5/2 can be rewritten as how many tenths? 25 tenths. Does everybody agree with that? Then I'm going to add 7/10. So 3/5 x equals, if I add 7 to 25, what do I get? 32 over 10. So we're just going to go ahead and write 32 over 10. Then you're going to say, well, I would just go ahead and reduce that fraction. So 3/5 x equals 16 over 5. And now I definitely need a what? A reciprocal. What's the reciprocal? 5 over 3. The 5s cancel. 16/3. That's really good. All right, if you got that, then you're in pretty good shape with fractions. All right. Now, again, over here, this one again, we're going to say is negative 25 tenths. So 3/5 x equals negative 25 plus 7. No. Negative 18 tenths. And so now we would reduce. And now we would do the what? And we would do the reciprocal, which in this case now here what's nice is the 5s cancel. And the 3 and the 9 cancel. So your final answer is just no, -3. All right, and that's hard to see, so I'm going to fix that. All right. Now, again, another magnificent performance by me. I appreciate that. All right. Bravo. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now, guys, your job is the what? Odds. Have fun.
Thank you.
You are so welcome.